Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, back with a new Viking Orations. Got another album review for you today, and this time around I'm going to be talking to you about the debut full-length from the band Luctum, entitled Ashes of the Titans, put out this year through Witch Hand Productions. And if you are not familiar with this band, it is a 5-piece atmospheric black metal band based out of Portland, Oregon, that formed back in 2014, featuring, and these are going to be all initials here, TG on bass, EL on drums, who was in Power Beast and others. You have ER handling the guitars and synths, BR on guitars and synths, which is basically Brian Rush from Enigmatum, Power Beast, Dishonor, and about a million other bands that I don't have time to list. And finally, Q handling the vocals. As I said, this is their debut full-length album. It is 7 tracks, clocks in just a little over 41 minutes in length. And while these guys are listed as atmospheric black metal, which automatically makes you think of bands like Summoning or Caladan Brood or any of that ilk, the atmosphere here is just darkness. This is a very, very dark album. It has this very oppressive and depressive kind of atmosphere to it, and kind of vampiric at times, but not in the cheesy way, because I know you hear the word vampiric and you think cheeseball black metal, but no, that is not the case here. It's also lyrically dark as well, with some very depressive topics, but it also has stuff about Greek mythology and even a vampirus, so hey. But yeah, it also has the serious old school black metal vibes just all through it. From the tremolo picked riffs that are very haunting at times, to the overall drum sound here with lots of blast beats throughout, but not in the, dark funeral, constant blast beat sense, but definitely a lot of blast beats, but also some really good patterns and fills, just some really good overall drum performance. Another aspect of this album that is quite different from normal black metal is that the bass is actually very audible throughout the album, and it's very heavy in tone. I listened to the opening to track 3, Fortress of Avarice. Oh, that opening bass riff is just heavy as hell. Finally, Q's vocals are very well done, I think. He uses these shrieks that definitely remind you of Xasthur, but a more prominent sounding Xasthur, because, with Xasthur, the vocals were usually very far back, very distant, but these are more in your face. And you also get these really low growls that are used as backing vocals throughout, which really adds to the unsettling atmosphere, because you'll be hearing the shrieks and then you hear this low growl in the background. Just really well done, very creepy sounding. Overall, I think the synths on here were used perfectly, in my opinion, to lend even more creepiness by kind of being subtly in the background. Great example of that is track 2, Dithyrambic Awakening. Sorry, that was really hard to say. And the synths at the end of that song are really creepy as well. Track 7, Feeding on the Flesh of a Memory. Halfway through the song, it goes for this real and actual piano sound for just a short period. It's still kind of a creepy piano piece, and then the rest of the instruments finally rejoin, leading to this really killer guitar solo. Again, going back to track 2, I just love that very creepy synth piece that ends that song. It kind of has this otherworldly, paranormal-ish feel to it. It's very hard to describe, but it's very well done. Track 3, Fortress of Avarice, starts really slow and almost doomy before it picks up the pace with some really cool riffing going on in that song. And overall, generally the music is very mid to fast paced in nature, but tracks like this one actually show they like to kind of slow things down to give it that really creepy, oppressive factor. Again, another good example of that would be track 6, The Rotting House. And track 3 really has some good double bass work on here as well, I have to say. Track 4, probably I would say my favorite track on this album, is called Kronos Devouring His Son. It's this really haunting and melancholic piano and synth instrumental with notes that have this kind of echoey sound to it, making it very somber to listen to. At one point, it actually switches to just the actual piano at one point with these really heavy keystrokes. Like, it's like dun 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 dun. And then, it goes back to where they layer it with the synths playing over top of it. It's just really, really creepy, really well done. Track 5, Theriomorphic Divinations of Eris Nocturna, which, of course, that should give you right away, is the track about the vampirist. About 2 minutes and 35 seconds in, there's just the guitars playing this really cool tremolo riff, and then the bass and the drums come in with this heavy dun bass riff, and then the cymbal crashes over top of it. And it leads to this really nice guitar solo, and then the song ends with this synth passage. God, I can't hardly talk today. It sounds almost ritualistic. I can't give it that very vampiric feel. Overall, this is just very well executed, somber and dark, old school black metal. And while 3 of the 7 tracks are over 7 minutes in length, you don't really notice because they're written in a way that just really immerses you, and you just lose yourself in them. This gets a solid 9.5 out of 10 from me. And definitely go check it out. I will leave a link down below where you can check this out. CD version of this is coming out this winter through Morbid Chapel Records. I'm really looking forward to that. So that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, stay brutal.